In the Galactic Federation, humanity had risen from a planet of strife to become a beacon of hope among the stars. The Council of Elders, composed of the most respected leaders, symbolized this unity, guiding interstellar diplomacy with wisdom and strength. Yet, beneath this polished veneer lurked shadows of betrayal. Mira, a bright and ambitious young diplomat, had always dreamed of making a difference in the galaxy. Her latest assignment took her to the Council Hall, where the air buzzed with excitement over the upcoming intergalactic summit. As she prepared for her speech, she felt a sense of unease. Rumors whispered of discontent among alien factions, and her instincts warned her that something deeper was at play. One evening, driven by an insatiable curiosity, Mira wandered the dimly lit corridors of the council hall. As she passed a heavily guarded door, she heard hushed voices. With her heart pounding, she activated a small recording device and crept closer. The conversation unfolded, chilling her to the core. "We must ensure the Enzath remain loyal," an elder's voice sneered. "The chaos they can unleash will keep the other factions in line. Our power will be absolute." "Agreed," another voice replied, laced with a cold disdain. "Humanity is but a tool in this game. Their naivety makes them perfect pawns." Mira's blood ran cold as she realized the depth of their treachery. The elders were not only conspiring with the Enzath, an ancient race known for their ruthless conquests, but they were also willing to sacrifice the very people they were meant to protect. She barely managed to suppress a gasp, knowing that she had to escape before they discovered her presence. Just as she turned to flee, a heavy hand landed on her shoulder. The guards had seen her. Panic surged through her veins, and she bolted, her heart racing. The guards shouted orders, and Mira sprinted down the corridor, adrenaline fueling her escape. She darted through the winding halls, the echoes of her footsteps mingling with the distant shouts behind her. In a desperate maneuver, she ducked into an alcove, pressing herself against the wall, hoping to blend into the shadows. Her breath came in ragged gasps as she listened to the guards pass by, their voices filled with frustration. "Search every inch. We can't let her get away with this." Once the coast was clear, Mira slipped out and made her way to a hidden exit she had scouted during her time in the council. She emerged into the cool night air, the stars shining brightly above, a stark contrast to the darkness that had just unfolded within. With her mind racing, she knew she had to find Zarek. Zarek, a former soldier turned mercenary, was known for his formidable combat skills and resourceful nature. He had a reputation for being a loose cannon, but Mira trusted him more than anyone in the galaxy. She navigated the bustling streets of the capital planet, her mind focused on one goal: warn Zarek and gather allies before the elders could act on their nefarious plans. After a tense journey through the city's underbelly, Mira arrived at a dimly lit bar, a frequent haunt for Zarek. She pushed through the crowd, her heart pounding as she scanned the room. Finally, she spotted him at a corner table, his rugged features accentuated by the flickering light of a holographic display. "Mira." Zarek's voice boomed as he caught sight of her, his eyes narrowing with concern. "You look like you've seen a ghost." "No time for jokes," Mira gasped, leaning in to share her harrowing discovery. "The elders are betraying us, and we need to act fast. The Enzath are planning something terrible." Zarek's expression hardened as he absorbed her words. "Then we gather our forces and put an end to this. I'm in." As they clasped hands, the gravity of their alliance set in. They would not only fight for their own survival, but for the fate of humanity and the entire Federation. The battle for justice had begun, and they were determined to uncover the truth, no matter the cost. With the weight of betrayal heavy on their shoulders, Mira and Zarek wasted no time. They needed allies to confront the elders and the Enzath. Their first stop was Draxon, a planet notorious for its fierce gladiatorial contests, and the pride of its warrior race, the Drakuri. The Drakuri had suffered immensely under the Elders' oppressive regime, their warriors often forced into servitude for the Federation's military campaigns. Gaining their trust would be a challenge, but Mira knew their potential was crucial. As their ship descended into the dusty, sun-baked arena of Draxon, the air crackled with anticipation. Spectators roared, their voices mingling with the clang of metal and the grunts of combatants in the arena. Mira felt a surge of anxiety, knowing that she was stepping into a culture where strength and honor reigned supreme. Navigating through the crowd, Zarek led the way, his imposing stature parting the throngs of fans. They reached the arena's edge just as the current champion, a massive Drakari named Korath, executed a stunning victory against a formidable foe. The crowd erupted in deafening cheers, and Mira couldn't help but admire the raw power and skill on display. But this was no time for admiration. They needed Korath on their side. "Zarek, do you think he'll even listen to us?" Mira asked, doubt creeping into her voice. "Trust me," Zarek replied with a grin. "I know how to appeal to a warrior's pride." After the match, they pushed their way to the Champions' Chambers, where Korath was celebrating with his fellow fighters. Zarek stepped forward, bold and unyielding. "Korath, I challenge you to a duel." The Drakari turned, his brow furrowing in confusion. "You wish to fight me? Do you not see what I just did to my opponent?" Zarek met Korath's gaze without flinching. "I'm not here for glory. I'm here to prove that humanity stands with the oppressed. The elders betray us all, and I seek an alliance. We must rise against them." Korath, intrigued, gestured for silence. The crowd fell still, curiosity piqued. "What makes you think a mere human can challenge me?" "Not just a human," Mira interjected, stepping forward. "I'm a diplomat, and I represent a new alliance. Together, we can topple the elders and bring true justice to our people. Join us, and we can free your kind from their tyranny." A murmur spread through the crowd, the atmosphere thick with anticipation. Korath studied them for a long moment, his eyes narrowing. "You speak boldly, human, but words alone are not enough. If you wish to earn my respect, you must defeat me in combat." Zarek exchanged a determined look with Mira. This was their chance. "I accept your challenge, Korath." The arena was soon transformed into a battleground, the ground beneath them echoing with the cheers of the crowd. As the two squared off, Mira's heart raced, knowing the stakes had never been higher. Zarek was formidable, but Korath was a beast of legend, renowned for his brute strength and skill. The fight began, and Zarek moved like a whirlwind, dodging and weaving as Korath swung with powerful blows. Every punch that landed reverberated through the arena, and Mira felt each impact deep in her chest. Zarek relied on his agility, using the environment to his advantage, but Korath's raw power was a daunting challenge. Just as Korath charged in for a decisive blow, Zarek ducked and rolled, coming up behind the champion. In a swift motion, he took Korath down with a well-placed strike, pinning him to the ground. The crowd erupted in disbelief, their cheers turning to gasps. As Korath lay there, breathless and stunned, Zarek extended a hand. "You fought well, Korath. Join us, and we can fight for a future where no one is subjugated." Korath, still reeling from the unexpected defeat, took Zarek's hand, rising with newfound respect. "You've earned my loyalty, human. I will stand with you against the elders." With Korath's pledge, Mira felt a surge of hope. They had begun to forge an unlikely alliance, a coalition that could bring down the corrupt power of the elders and restore justice to the galaxy. But the path ahead would be fraught with danger, and the fight for freedom had only just begun. With Korath's allegiance secured, Mira's coalition rapidly expanded. The Drakari warrior brought not only his strength, but also connections to other oppressed factions across the galaxy. As they prepared to expose the Elders' betrayal, Mira knew they needed to make a bold move that would resonate throughout the Galactic Federation. The plan took shape during a covert meeting aboard their ship, the Starblade Asterisk. floating in the shadows of a nearby moon. Zarek stood at the helm, his eyes burning with determination. We have to strike during the intergalactic summit. It's the perfect opportunity. All the key figures will be in one place, and we'll have an audience. Mira nodded, feeling the weight of their mission. We'll need evidence. Something irrefutable to sway even the most stubborn minds. If we can access the Elders' private communications, we can reveal the depth of their treachery. Korath grinned, cracking his knuckles. Leave the infiltration to me. Drakari are excellent at moving unnoticed in the shadows. I can get us in. As they finalized their strategy, tension hung thick in the air. Mira's mind raced with thoughts of what lay ahead. They needed to be meticulous, for failure would not only mean their doom, but also the continuation of the Elders' tyranny. The day of the summit arrived, the grand hall of the council dazzling with opulence. Delegates from across the galaxy mingled in formal attire, exchanging pleasantries while the Elders basked in the spotlight. Mira's coalition donned disguises to blend in, each member stationed at key points throughout the hall. Mira and Zarek slipped through the throngs of delegates, their hearts racing with anticipation. They exchanged nods with Korath, who waited near a secured access point. "I'm ready," he whispered, his expression focused. With a swift motion, Korath disabled the security system and opened the door to the Elders' private chambers. The two humans followed him inside, the opulence of the room starkly contrasting the darkness of their mission. Mira's pulse quickened as she activated her recording device, scanning the room for any signs of evidence. Zarek kept watch at the door, his instincts on high alert. Suddenly, a flash of light illuminated the screen on Mira's device, revealing a hidden panel behind a bookshelf. "Here!" Mira exclaimed, moving toward it as Korath guarded the entrance. With trembling hands, she pried it open to reveal a terminal filled with encrypted communications. As she worked to bypass the security protocols, her heart raced at the thought of what she might uncover. The room was eerily quiet, and the weight of their mission bore down on her. After a tense few moments, the screen flickered to life, displaying messages between the Elders and the Enzath. Mira read the exchanges aloud, her voice barely above a whisper. They're planning to stage a conflict to solidify their power and blame it on the other factions. This isn't just betrayal, it's treason on a galactic scale. Suddenly, an alarm blared, jolting them from their task. Zarek's eyes widened. "We've been compromised. We need to move now." Korath pushed them toward the exit, but Mira hesitated, desperate to secure the evidence. "I can't leave without it." "Trust me, we'll come back for it," Zarek urged, grabbing her arm and pulling her toward the door. They dashed into the hallway, just as guards burst into the room, weapons drawn. The trio sprinted through the hall, weaving through delegates who stared in shock. Mira's heart pounded as they dodged guards, the chaos of the summit unfolding around them. She glanced back at the Elders' chamber, knowing they were leaving behind critical evidence, but understanding the necessity of survival. Outside, Korath led them to an escape route. As they made their way to their ship, Mira's mind raced with thoughts of their next move. They had to get the evidence out to the galaxy, but first, they needed to regroup and plan their next steps. The stakes had never been higher. With the Elders aware of their actions, the coalition would be marked for death. But Mira felt a surge of resolve. They had ignited a fire of rebellion. The truth was in their hands, and they would stop at nothing to expose the Elders' treachery and reclaim justice for all. With the Elders now aware of their intent to expose the betrayal, Mira and her coalition found themselves thrust into an urgent and perilous situation. The intergalactic summit had turned into a battleground, with factions splintering and chaos erupting as whispers of treachery spread like wildfire. Tensions escalated rapidly as Mira and her allies prepared to confront the full might of the Elders and their Enzath allies. Back aboard the Starblade Asterisk, Mira stood at the command center, her fingers gripping the console as she surveyed the chaotic feeds from various planets. We need to act fast. If we don't seize control now, the Elders will quell this uprising before it can gain momentum, she said, determination etched on her face. Zarek, standing beside her, nodded. We have to rally support from those who still trust us. We can't let fear dictate our actions. He turned to Korath, who was sharpening his weapons, a fierce glint in his eyes. We need a plan that draws the Elders out into the open. Korath's expression shifted, and he nodded thoughtfully. There's a weapons depot on Xanthar Prime that the Elders use for covert operations. If we take it, we can disrupt their supply chain and give our allies a fighting chance. As they plotted their next move, Mira felt the weight of responsibility pressing down on her. The fate of countless lives rested on their shoulders, and she could not allow fear or doubt to hold them back. They quickly rallied their forces, sending coded messages to sympathetic factions across the galaxy. The day of the raid on Xanthar Prime arrived, and the coalition assembled under the cover of darkness. Mira, Zarek, Korath, and a group of trusted warriors from various species gathered in a hidden encampment. The atmosphere was thick with tension as they finalized their strategy. Stick to the plan, Mira reminded everyone. We strike hard and fast. Korath, lead the charge. Zarek, you're with me on the flank. The rest of you secure the perimeter and disable their defenses. As dawn broke, the coalition moved stealthily toward the weapons depot, their hearts pounding with adrenaline. The metallic structure loomed ahead, a fortress brimming with the Elders' firepower. Guards patrolled the area, their movements synchronized, a stark reminder of the formidable enemy they faced. With a nod from Korath, they launched their assault. The initial explosion shattered the silence, sending guards scrambling for cover. Korath barreled through the entrance, his formidable strength allowing him to take down opponents with brutal efficiency. Mira and Zarek flanked him, their weapons blazing as they fought side by side. Inside, the depot was a labyrinth of crates and machinery, and the sound of gunfire echoed through the halls. Mira's tactical mind kicked into high gear as she directed her allies, orchestrating the chaos around them. We need to reach the control room and disable their automated defenses. As they pressed forward, the Elders' guards fought back fiercely. In the midst of the chaos, Mira found herself separated from Zarek and Korath. As she maneuvered through the complex, she stumbled upon a group of captured rebels, those who had once fought against the Elders and were now prisoners. Mira's heart sank at the sight. We have to free them, she shouted, her voice filled with urgency. She quickly assessed the situation, realizing that time was running out. With deft movements, she unlocked their restraints and rallied the rebels. Join us, together we can fight back. With newfound allies at her side, Mira regrouped with Zarek and Korath, the three forming an unstoppable force. They charged toward the control room, where the Elders' commander awaited them, flanked by elite and Zath warriors. The room was filled with tension as the two sides faced off. Mira's resolve hardened. This ends now. No more lies, no more oppression. We fight for our freedom. The ensuing battle was fierce and chaotic. Mira fought with everything she had, drawing on the strength of her allies. Zarek's quick reflexes and Korath's brute force were instrumental, but it was Mira's strategy that turned the tide. With a final push, they overwhelmed the Elders' forces, seizing control of the weapons depot. As they stood amidst the wreckage, victory coursing through their veins, Mira knew this was just the beginning. They had disrupted the Elders' plans, but the war was far from over. The coalition's resolve had been tested, but they had proven their strength. Now they would rally the galaxy, and the fight for justice had only just begun. With the weapons depot secured, the coalition's victory reverberated throughout the galaxy like a thunderous battle cry. News of their triumphs spread quickly, igniting hope among those who had suffered under the Elders' rule. the tides of rebellion surged as factions across the Galactic Federation began to rally against their oppressors. Mira stood on the deck of the Starblade, gazing at the holographic displays showcasing the rising wave of resistance. Delegates who had once been silent now took up arms, and systems previously held under the Elders' thumb began to unite. The fight for justice had ignited a fire in the hearts of many, but Mira knew the Elders would not go down without a fight. "Gather everyone," Zarek called, his voice booming as he moved through the command center. "We need to strategize our next steps. The Elders will retaliate, and we must be ready." As the coalition assembled, Korath's presence commanded respect. "Our victory at the depot is just the beginning," he said, his deep voice resonating with conviction. "The Elders will attempt to crush us, but we now have the means to defend ourselves and launch counterattacks." Mira felt a mix of exhilaration and apprehension. We must take the fight to their doorstep. If we can capture the council hall, we can expose their treachery to the entire Federation. Plans were laid out meticulously, with each faction contributing its strengths. The former prisoners from Xanthar Prime joined the cause, bringing invaluable intelligence about the Elders' operations. As the coalition prepared for the assault on the council hall, the atmosphere buzzed with energy and purpose. On the day of the assault, the coalition moved under the cover of night, stealthily approaching the heart of the Elders' power. They navigated through the complex, determined to reach the council chamber where the Elders held their meetings. The halls, once a symbol of unity, now felt like a twisted labyrinth of deceit. With every step, Mira's heart raced. Memories of betrayal flooded her mind, but she pushed them aside. She could not afford to falter now. As they reached the outer chamber, Zarek led the way, his weapon drawn and ready for any sign of danger. The door swung open, revealing the Elders in heated discussion, their faces etched with fear and desperation as they became aware of the impending threat. Mira stepped forward, her voice steady and resolute. "You can no longer hide behind your lies. The time for justice has come." Before they could react, the coalition charged into the chamber. Zarek and Korath took the lead, engaging the Elders' guards in a fierce battle. Mira moved swiftly, dodging blasts and strategically positioning herself to capture the Elders' attention. "Your betrayal ends today," she shouted, activating her recording device to transmit the hidden communications to every corner of the Federation. As the damning evidence flooded the airwaves, the faces of the Elders turned pale with realization. The council chamber erupted into chaos. The remaining delegates who had once supported the Elders began to shift uneasily. The truth was unraveling before them, and the weight of their complicity bore down like a collapsing star. As the battle intensified, Mira caught the eye of Elder Varkin, the ringleader of the treachery. "You thought you could wield power without consequence, didn't you?" she accused, her voice cutting through the din. "You manipulated us for your gain, but we will not stand for it any longer." With a final push, Zarek and Korath dispatched the last of the guards, leaving the Elders vulnerable. The once mighty council now cowered before them, stripped of their facade. With the evidence of their betrayal broadcasting across the galaxy, delegates began to switch their allegiances. The coalition's victory was swift and overwhelming. The Elders' power crumbled as their supporters deserted them, and a wave of justice swept through the Federation. In the aftermath, Mira, Zarek, and Korath stood together, surveying the remnants of their victory. The Galactic Federation had been shaken to its core, but a new dawn was breaking. The coalition, once an unlikely alliance, had transformed into a beacon of hope, uniting the oppressed and the freedom seekers. "We did it," Mira said, her voice filled with a mix of relief and triumph. "Together, we will rebuild," Korath replied, his eyes gleaming with determination. As they looked to the stars, they knew their fight was not over. The path ahead would be fraught with challenges, but united, they would forge a future where justice and freedom reigned. The dawn of justice had arrived, and they were ready to defend it, side by side.